Hi everybody, Linda Carroll here in my studio, Gather of Great Things, and today is Mindful Monday, and I promised you that I would show you how I'm finishing up the collages that we've worked on so far. And I've been working on our first collage, the totem collages. And what kept going over and over in my mind as I sat here looking at the collage and just being with it was to use more words, and specifically my words for the year, which are thrive and flourish, which they both mean pretty much the same thing. So I think I've showed you before how I keep my ransom note letters. These I cut out of magazines and books and flyers and junk mail and store them in these little tins, and it works out perfectly for me. I have an example of the letter on the outside, and I just keep everything in alphabetical order in this plastic bin. And I have also the number 5 because that's my favorite number. And I have punctuation marks. And I have the word the. And I have the word and. So this is how I store my supplies, and so far I have the word thrive, and in the collage itself I use the words connected, creative, and aligned. But I think I want to get these thrive letters in position. And I just love working with ransom note letters. They're just, to me, it's just so much fun. A little bit of a challenge sometimes, but I think that they are, you know, it's kind of meditative to work with these letters, to find them and glue them down, and it very much keeps me in the moment, trying to get the whatever I happen to be spelling out to the point where I like it on the layout. And I tend to kind of move them around some until I get things balanced. Most of my collages I do build a border around. It just, to me, it just works. It holds the collage together and kind of finishes it. And let's see here. I like that. So the next I think I want to do is creative. I definitely want to put, let's see, thrive, create, align, and connect. So those are the ones that I'm going to be looking for. So I'm going to go ahead and continue building this. I'm sure I'll fast forward it because it'd be a little bit boring to sit there and watch me look for letters and everything if it wasn't speeded up. But this is the idea of what I'm going to be doing. And then I'm going to go in with my pens and also with my Stabilo pencil and do some more shading and some more, I call it embellishing. You know, a lot of collages, pure collages that you see are paste and paper and glue. I tend to embellish mine a bit more. I use found objects, I use pens, I use graphite, I use just about any material, acrylic paints, and that's how I finish off my collages once I have them laid out and to the point where I'm ready to go to the next step. So the ones we've done so far, I've done the pure collage part, and that's fine. You can stop right there. You don't have to continue. But I'm usually not a minimalist when I'm working on my collages. I like them full and dynamic, and this one was just a little too calm. Again, I know that these are mindful collages, which means to me they are intentional. They're created in the spirit of staying in the moment and being in your creative space. And so I'm still in the flow. And as I work with these letters, I know I will get more and more into the flow, not thinking about time, not feeling time passing, just being. So I'm going to keep on going, and I'll put some music on, and we'll finish up this collage. Okay, I have all my letters, letters glued down in position, my ransom note letters. And I did leave some space between those letters, and you can see the lines that I drew around the border. And I think I want to go in and use my Posca pens. I haven't decided if I want to use blue or red. Right now I'm kind of leaning towards blue since I used the blue in the background. So I'm just going to go in and fill in, not exact, but fill in between these lines that I drew, just to kind of connect these words. Okay, that has my border now connected, and I need to add some shading underneath some of these rocks that are piled up. So I'm gonna take my Stabilo pencil, and I'm just gonna put a little bit of shading, not much more than a line here, up underneath these rocks and overlapping the rock beneath it. Now, if you like yours the way that it looks and you don't want to add the shading under there, that's okay, that's fine. But for me, I just need a little bit of shading underneath there to show that I need a little more pencil here, show that the rocks are indeed shading the rock below it, and it just gives a bit more dimension to these rocks. Okay, one of the last things I'm going to do, which is something I do in my diva journal, Dancing Divas, I take a pen and I just start going around the outside edges, and I don't want a really crisp line. In fact, I don't have a whole lot of control over this line because of the way I'm holding the pen, but it just kind of gives a little bit of a finish to the work. And I'm going to go around the letters here too, and this will kind of connect my letters even more. And the last thing I would do would be to do a little bit of the shading around the letters on this side, like I did on this side of the rocks, just to give it a little bit more dimension. I kind of smeared my ink up here in the corner. Unfortunately, so I think I have to add a butterfly, but that's all right. You know, butterflies are symbols of transformation. And, you know, this is kind of just like going with the flow. This is probably a fortunate accident. And let's see what happens if it adds to the piece or doesn't add to the piece. I have a feeling that it's going to add to the piece. It's going to fussy cut around here. I think it does add to a piece. Adds another layer and a butterfly. Let's see. This one might be too big, too outstanding. I think I just want to have a little bit of a little subtle butterflies in here. Let's see. Remember when you're fussy cutting, especially little pieces like this, you want to move your paper and not your scissors. Okay, and I need 3. I have to have 3. So, and these are from the collage kit on my Etsy shop. Or you can use any butterflies that you want if you decide to finish this like I am. Like I said, if you like the more serene version of the collage, that's great. You don't have to add anything else to it. What do you think? Here. There. There. I think there. Okay. A few little letters that are kind of hanging over the edge here. I'll trim up. And I'm going to call this one completed. Okay, this is the collage that I did about the person who I miss the most. And it was about my grandmother. I did tape the letter in on this side using washi tape so that I could read it, continue to read it. I'm thinking I just want to put a little bit of paint in here to cover up some of this copy, because it really, to me, doesn't add to the collage at all. Okay, I think that just that little bit, just that little touch of paint to get rid of that black type that was really standing out, help set that in the background, and then makes the rest of the collage pop. And this is acrylic paint out of just craft paint, so I can pretty much get rid of it with a baby wipe. So, okay, we have two finished. This one I keep looking at and looking at, and I love the simplicity of this one, but I think I just need some things to break up this space here. And I found this little triangle. I think I'm just gonna glue this on and maybe look for a few more pieces to break up these big dark areas. Okay, like that. This works with these colors. Okay, I really like the changes in this one. When I went back and looked at this, there were a couple things that I did not think added to the collage. One was the earring on this ear. The other was I had a bit of negative space here between her hair and then her head over here that I needed to take care of. So adding these triangles served two purposes: taking care of what I did not want to include in the collage, and also bringing the focus back to these two children here, this innocence that I was talking about in this particular collage. I needed to break up this big dark triangle up here, and I know that putting this half circle up here, part of a circle up here, continued the flow through the collage. I don't know that I thought of that consciously at the moment, but I certainly saw that when I put it down and glued it in place. I saw that continuing circle there. I like this greenery, it's not really green, pinkery down here in this corner. It brings this part of the collage forward, and then added more dimension by putting this pear on the horizon line back here in the back. And this pear picks up the colors in the triangles up here at the top and in the rows. So again, you have this triangle that focuses your attention here on the innocent children. So I'm going to call this surreal collage completed, and I really like the effect that adding those additional pieces gave to this. If you indeed like the simplicity, which I did in the collage where I left it before, that's great. But I find when I revisit my collages, a lot of times I see things that I didn't see before, and that's what happened with this one. So I just took out a few of my scraps out of my bin and worked a little bit more on it. So we have, at this point in time, completed this collage by adding the lettering, the border around the outside edge, and some line work, some marks, and the butterflies, the 3 butterflies in here. And I'm pleased with this one. This one I added some paint to get rid of the black lettering that I really didn't care for at all. And I did leave these, to me this says "for her" only up here. So I'm sure that as I look at this more, I'll probably read more into it. What I might need in here is, I was thinking last night, are some additional spirals here to kind of repeat my spiral pattern. And I don't have a lot of control here in this one. I'm holding the pen at the end, but I like the way that turned out, and I think maybe some additional marks here. And at this point, I'm just, I'm just playing. So it's paper, and expressing myself I'm expressing myself in a playful way, and that's what collage is all about is letting that, that child playfulness out again. So many of us have kind of locked that away and forgotten about it. And it's, it's that little creative spirit that still dwells inside of us that collage will bring out. And I think the line that my grandmother wrote in here, that, just bubble over with the joy of living. Being playful like this is indeed joyful. And we kind of miss that we get busy in our daily lives, and we kind of miss that part of life. So I'm just really doodling. And that added a lot to this particular piece. And I think down here I need maybe some tiny little trees. And this little doodle I'm adding up here, I've done my whole life. Why, I don't know, but I like that doodle. So I'm going to repeat that over here. Okay. And with that, I've completed this one. So that was a lot of fun. I was actually thinking about this before I went to sleep last night, and what additional work I needed to do on this, or additional play. And what came to me was I needed to add some black doodles, and indeed I think that added a lot to this piece. So we're finished with this one about my grandmother. We are finished with this surreal collage about innocence, and I love the additions that I made to this. So we have one more to finish, and really on this one, the only thing I'm going to add, I have these little plants over here that kind of, for me, represent the terrariums that my granddaughter loves. And then I have this space over here that's just empty, and I don't like that. But I do like this area here where it says chemicals cook, because that's one thing that we do is we bake a lot, and it's the chemical reactions in the baking that make the raw ingredients turn into the cooked ingredients. So I really want to keep that, and I want to add more of the little greenery down here. And I'm thinking, well, let me just cut it out and see what happens. Now, do I want to add this up here? Maybe I do. Let's see what happens here. do. That just kind of finishes that off, which I really like. Okay, let's glue that down in place. Okay, so I need to trim this off. And when I have two pieces here that I need to join together, this up here really is okay because I have this ends and this ends, so this is fine. And the same up here. You know, I have like a little border around this top piece. And here I overlapped the shell onto the projector. But here I just have kind of a very, very weird intersection there. So what I do is I take a piece of Collage. And this piece has a lot of great colors in it. And I overlap one piece over the other. And that tends to connect those two. And I like the colors in that as well. So let's go ahead, and that's just a little tip for you. And it just makes that transition a bit easier. But other than that, this one is finished. So again, too, if you have places on your collage where you have pieces overlapping the edge, you can just trim those off, or I find that you can use just an ordinary nail file and file those edges down. A little blip there with the electricity. And that'll give you a nice edge. Okay. So this one is done. So I'm just going to call this our catch-up catch up Mindful Monday, and you can go back and take a look at the collages that you've done and sit with them for a while. Take a couple of deep breaths and really look and see if there is anything that you feel will add to that collage. You've been distanced from it for a little while. And this one I added my type around the outside, and I added my black line work, and it kind of pulled everything together. This one I added the letter from my grandmother that I'll always be able to read, and I added my black doodles, which again I'm repeating shapes throughout, using the same tool, and that kind of has pulled everything together too. And this one, this is a very surreal collage, and it had kind of an abstract theme of innocence, and I really feel that the pieces that I added just your attention more on these two children walking at the beach. And then this one, I just needed to finish off this corner. I feel better now that that area has been covered, and the little hint down here about overlapping two pieces that seem totally disconnected with one piece tends to make the transition a lot easier. So I'm going to call this the end of today's session. I hope you all are having a great day or evening, whichever it is that is when you're watching this. Many blessings to you all, and I'll see you again soon. Bye for now.